What's up, everybody? It's your boy Warcraft History, and we're here with a very exciting uh, invention of mine, probably the dream of every WoW guy player out there, where I'm going to make my wife sit down and listen to me explaining in nauseum about World of Warcraft. So I'll see you guys on the other side of the intro. So let's just start out with me. I started playing World of Warcraft in 2005. I was a sophomore in high school. I know it was 2005 because play that back 2006. I know it's 2006 because, and I might be getting dates wrong. So in post, I will just make edits of calling myself a big giant idiot. I got a laptop from I got a laptop. And the first game I ever installed on that laptop, I got the laptop for Christmas, and the first game I ever installed on that laptop was World of Warcraft. So I've been playing on and off ever since. Excuse me. I've been playing on and off ever since, just like every WoW player. Um, I was most active probably in the first couple expansions, and Wrath I was doing PvP and PvE. After Cataclysm, I kind of fell off, and I came back. When everybody came back during COVID because we were locked in our houses with nothing to do, and I've been more on than off. If everybody knows what I mean, more on than off ever since then. So that's sort of my gaming repertoire. Before that, was just a console gamer. World of Warcraft was actually not the first MMO I ever played. I remember my parents were buying a washer and dryer at Best Buy, and I saw Star Wars Galaxy, and the guy that was selling us the washer and dryer was a huge Star Wars Galaxies fan, and he was trying to explain it to me, and he sold me. And then I took it home and tried to install it on my desktop, and it did not fucking work. So that's a little fun fact about me. I'm actually a Star Wars Galaxies player first, World of Warcraft player second. Shout out Star Wars Galaxy homies out there. I actually don't play. I never played that game. The game was so confusing. Even as adult, when I go and play on like emulation servers, I don't know what's going on. So I would have never been able to fit as a 14-year. So let's do a little introduction for you. And can we get your
Yes, sir.
can we get your gaming credentials? Editor me, can you put in the meme that says, "Oh yeah, you're a girl gamer"? Well, tell me what happened in every game ever.
Um, I very much like you. I guess I consider my gaming history going all the way back to playing like my SNES. I had older siblings that I grew up with that played. So my main gamer girl background is like Legend of Zelda for sure. I would say that is my favorite game of all time. I have not played every single one, not the handheld ones, but I've played every like console Legend of Zelda. And
That's a lie. You haven't played the newest one. Calling you out.
what's the newest one? Yes, I did.
Breath of the Wild 2.
Yes, I have it on my Switch right now, big dog.
Calling her out. She's
Okay,
not played it.
I have played it. I hate that one, by the way. I think the mechanics, they made it so much more confusing. But anyway, I digress. I would say then from there, right before, I think I got my first gaming PC, like, right before COVID was a thing. I think it was, like, right at the Christmas of, 2019-ish.
For Christmas before COVID,
Like,
before my
real.
spine.
Yes. Is when I got my gaming computer that I still have. That thing is chugging along. And I do consider myself a cozy gamer at this point. I play a lot of The Sims. I played that growing up, and I play that now. But don't check my TikTok because apparently I don't have enough hours. Um, and I play a lot of farming sims.
Sidebar: if you think the World of Warcraft gaming community is toxic, it holds nothing to the Sims community.
Insane. They came for my throat. And then I play a lot of farming simulators. So like, not farming simulators, you know what I'm talking about. Stardew Valley, Coral Island. I play a lot of that, a lot of cozy games, and a lot of Baldur's Gate. I am an Astarian girly forever. So
We
in case anybody wanted to know not my main, but whom I romance every single time, it's Asterion. I am.
the gay vampire. Anyway, so the reason I wanted to make this podcast, besides obviously I wanted to put more content on the channel, it was really because I think WoW is kind of spotted to go through a revolution for the 19,000th time in my life. I think once the new housing features in the game, I think that'll draw a lot of people in. I know a lot of people think that WoW is dead, but throughout my 20 years of playing WoW, everybody always thought WoW was dead. So that's sort of why I wanted to make it. I wanted to document it, and obviously, I wanted to, you know, uh, talk to my wife to death about something that I know a lot about, that literally has no meaning anywhere outside of this. So, um, just going through my. Another thing is I want to definitely support more husbands and wives getting into gaming. I think that um, gaming with your significant other is very important. Um, if you guys do both game, specifically in games that like he's talking about, like working together. I know the meme in our household is that like whenever my mom and dad try to do anything, they're like yelling at each other, and they like fight all the time, and not because they're in a bad marriage or anything, but just because they don't have really any communication skills. And that was something I was very aware of when I got married, and that's sort of why I started playing games. I think the first game we really played together was Valheim. When Valheim came out, we were like, "This is crazy." It was also Minecraft for adults, so I think that being older when Minecraft came out, I was like, "This is a kid. This is a baby's game, a kid's game." And then playing Valheim, I think me personally as well, kind of understood that sort of game that has. And we're definitely more open to play those games. Recently, we've been playing games like Peak, which is a friendship ruining game and can be a relationship ruining game. But I think it's important if we can learn to talk to each other and game with each other, in the virtual, and also work together in the real world. And that's really important in a marriage. Not that I'm a marriage
Counselor.
counselor or expert. I'm just a guy who's married. We've only been married for like what, 3 or 4 years.
Hold on. You've been together longer. Don't act like you just met and got married. Uh,
We're actually Mormon.
Here's
We've
a
never had
fun
sex.
fact.
We're soaking. We're soakers.
No. Fun fact, this year will be 10 years together, but yes, we've been legally married for, it'll be through what you have like your domestic partnership.
Okay.
So we actually, the year we hit what we consider, I think our state says 7 years is when we got married.
Yeah.
So we'll have been married for almost 3 years, maybe 3 years, 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we together.
I mean, you keep the time. I just kind of show up
That's
to
what
my
the
centers for anniversaries.
It's fine. It's fine.
All right. So, what do you know about World of Warcraft just from what I've told you over the years? What are some things that you picked up?
So I will also, I think for the record, we have tried to play World of Warcraft together. But it does not work because I think you know too much about it at this point, and you know it too well that you can't allow someone to just go at it.
Yeah, I'm definitely a meta game.
So it just doesn't, that is one game that I don't think we'll ever play together, and that's okay. We have other games that we play together, but that's one I'm not interested in playing with you because it's too much. Um, but what I know about it is honestly not much. I know the characters. I know there's the panda characters. I know there's they call them elves.
Mhm.
There's elves. I know you have the minotaur characters. Um,
Don't ever disrespect Thorin. They're called Thorin.
sorry, my bad. Sorry, I read Minotaur romance, so there are minotaurs in my head.
All my Thorin bros stand up right now, stand on business right now.
So sorry. All hooves on.
There'll also be female Thorin, which I think you'd like because you can put like the flowers in your hair.
I've seen them. I've seen when you create your characters.
I've never created a female Thorin. I just
You showed me.
want to put that out
No.
there. I've never created a female.
I meant like when you're doing character creation, you've shown to me. So like in my brain, World of Warcraft, as far as like races and stuff go, it's very similar to other fantasy games or books or things that I've read. So you've got elves, gnomes, halflings.
No halflings.
Damn. Sorry, my bad.
What would be a halfling?
I don't know.
What would be the difference between a gnome and a halfling?
I actually, to this day, could not tell you because I have both of those in like Baldur's Gate and D&D. So like I don't know what the difference is.
I think they just put halflings in D&D to capitalize off a hobbit.
No,
There's hobbits are like the most recognizable.
yeah, I don't know, and I felt like going fake D&D player for not knowing what a halfling is. So my bad.
For the all my D&D commenters, I would like you to pull her card ring in the chat. Can you pull her card, please?
But I know that I know the characters. I know the basis of role playing games. I just I think there's too much lore for me at this point.
Or what do you know about ERP? We'll be right back. Anyway,
Electronic role playing? I have no idea what that.
erotic role.
Hey, that's crazy. I'm not interested.
Yeah, yeah. It's a thing. Moonguard, I'm looking at you. And I will always forever be, because I think you guys are just that's me. Anyway, um, so we're gonna start at the very beginning, and before World of Warcraft, there was something just called Warcraft. There was Warcraft 1 and 2. They were real-time strategy. So do you know what real-time strategy is? That would be like Command and Conquer.
Okay.
So you controlled units up and stuff like that. Now, people claim that they played Warcraft 1 and Warcraft 2, and I'm here to tell you as a Warcraft player, nobody ever did. Everybody started playing Warcraft and Warcraft 3. I don't want to hear it. You can drop it in chat. My dad had Warcraft 1 on his computer. That's cap. That's all cap. So at the beginning, the game that got most of us into it, myself included, would be Warcraft 3. Warcraft 3 was a real-time strategy, but it was the game that introduces the characters who would further be in World of Warcraft. So in Warcraft 3, and we'll get into it a little bit more, you have major players who become faction leaders. So Thrall is a big character campaign that you have. Thrall is the leader of the orcs. In Warcraft 3, you go and figure out how Thrall gets out of basically the internment camps that they were in. Yeah, it's really dark. It starts off pretty dark.
That's
So,
crazy.
specifically with Thrall. So what I want to talk about a little bit in Sukalamink Blizzard's Blizzard here. The great thing about Warcraft 3 was the battle boxes, battle bundles, or I think they're called battle chests. I'll put them up here. These were how a lot of us were introduced to the game. It was basically a single SKU, so it was a single box. It had Warcraft 3, and it had the 2 expansion, which would the Arthas expansion, and the other one, drawing a blank. The good thing I want to put about Blizzard here is that at that time there wasn't really a lot of PC games on the shelf, if I remember correctly. Like there were like the PC gambling games, like the slots and shit for boomers. And then there was like there was no Steam back then, so there was no central place to buy video games. And I think they were in GameStop, but I remember buying mine in Walmart specifically. Um,
Best Buy for me, like PC.
Best Buy, yeah. I don't know if I was shopping at Best Buy at that time. This would have been like the early 2000s, or there was even a PC gaming section at Best Buy. Was there? Are you saying there was?
Yeah, I played Barbie games on PC when I was really young, and that's where my parents bought my Barbie games.
So the big thing I'm going to give Blizzard credit for here is actually the battle bundle. And you've seen it. It's the small little strategy guide that I have that has the work on it. That's actually from my original battle chest back in the day. I've kept that for years. And like I said, it was the battle chest. It had um, all the games in it. It was under a single SKU. And why that's important is that you just bought one um, basically battle chest, and it came with everything you wanted. It came with the tiny little strategy guides, which I think are so cute, so funny, because it's like, even as a kid, I was like, this is way, like my eyes are so good, and it's still very, very small. Um, Excuse me, I'm an alcoholic. Um, anyway, so I want to give credit because I think that's where a lot of our journey started was in Warcraft 3. I know a lot of people, especially people playing the game early, were knew who the characters were in Warcraft 3 and how important that was to really sort of capture the imagination, characters, and stuff like that. There would be no World of Warcraft if it wasn't for the success of Warcraft 3, which is where it all started. Again, I'm completely acknowledging Warcraft 1 and 2 existed, but I refuse to believe we actually played them as children. Argue with me in the comments below there. So what was important about Warcraft 3 besides it being the beginning? Um, so the real biggest difference between Warcraft 3 in other games that I can kind of remember was that Warcraft 3 had like one, it had like knights and stuff, but they also like not just knights, but like they had all different sorts of unit types, but they were all like looking at them, they were very understandable. You had the gnome gyrocopter, you know what the heck it did. You had the dwarven griffin riders kind of looked at them. You're like, oh, these are like air units and they throw hammers. I'm like, okay, I got it. You know what I mean? Another thing I think Warcraft 3 did really well is that it had like hero characters. So you would essentially, instead of having like 500 units or whatever, it would be like smaller, like almost warband play where you would have like one important character and supporting units. So even though you were controlling like a whole army, it never felt like, at least during the campaign, it never felt like it was like two armies. It felt more like it was like a war band. So you would have one leader who would be somebody like Arthas or Illidan, and then you would have units around it. And for somebody who never played RTSs, you got to think RTSs, even though they were popular, they didn't have mainstream appeal yet. It was very simple and easy to understand that it was like, this is my hero. I got to make sure he doesn't die. And these are my supporting characters.
So if
So
I'm trying to put this in what I would understand. Is this, first of all, is this third person?
yeah.
Okay. Would you compare this in any way to like Sim City?
Yes. Yeah, because there was like a building element. So you would build a town, you would get an objective, you build a town, make all your units, and once you had all your units, go out and you would attack and do objectives. So there was some like town building for sure. But a lot of it, like the big most important part was that you had like hero unit and then you had people around them. And that's how the story really wouldn't play out in town. Um, it would play out was like, okay, you build everything, now let's go out into that makes sense too. Um, so to talk about Warcraft 1 and 2, Warcraft 3 definitely sums up really what happens in Warcraft 1 and 2 pretty well, so that you didn't need to play Warcraft 1 and 2. Hold on. So you didn't have to play Warcraft 1 and 2 to kind of understand what the games were about. It was really like the base layer knowledge for like everything. Whereas like you didn't need to go back and play those games because those games happened like 20 to 30 years, if not more, in the Endgame universe before Warcraft 3. So Warcraft 3, I say all that to say that it was a very good starting point. And it was the starting point that a lot of people um resonated with as a kid because that's when you um interacted with those characters. And then the first two expansions of World of Warcraft were very based off of like things that happen in Warcraft 3. Like there's a character called Arthas we'll get into. Um and basically you see Arthas become corrupt. Like you see him as a young man, you see how he gets corrupted, you see what he turns into, which is something called the Lich King. And then World of Warcraft comes out and you're like, where the fuck is what is Arthas? And then not the first expansion, but the second expansion, you go and see what Arthas was doing and you eventually kill Arthas. Spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't played Wrath of the Lich King or Wrath of the Lich King Classic. The game's only been out for 15 if I don't put spoiler. You kill Arthas? What? I know somebody's gonna say that in the comments, so it is what it is. Um so really Warcraft 3 and the two expansions would be, I would say, about Arthas and Illidan. Arthas is like a human paladin knight.
Okay.
So to kind of put that into Illidan is a little more difficult to explain, but I'm going to try to do my best without any background knowledge. So Illidan is a night elf.
Okay.
So he's one of those elves around the trees. That's always what you play. He's a night elf. Night elf is an ancient race. It's one of the oldest races besides trolls. I have a new video. I'm working on a video about if um did night elves come from trolls, which plot twist they did. I guess you don't have to watch that video. I mean,
That you ruined that for yourself.
yeah, but it's a giant conspiracy theory.
Are night elves in any way like drow?
No, so drow are like evil. So night elves, just to kind of put their whole timeline is, night elves follow this goddess called a loon. A loon is like the moon. So way before the start of Warcraft 3, there's something called the Sundering. And what happens is night elves are living. There is a group of night elves that are very good at arcane magic, and then they become, I don't want to say corrupted by it, but they become changed by it. And they become what's called high elves. Through becoming high elves, and they try to get more power and more magic and stuff, they basically invite this giant army that's the existential threat called the Burning Legion. So they're trying to get more power and more power and more power. And what they do is they end up hooking up with the Burning Legion by accident, also not by accident. And they create this thing, the Moonwell. Again, I'm kind of confusing. These demons come out and they completely rip the world apart. It's called the Sundering. So it's like a Pangea continent, and then the Sundering happens and splits the world up.
Okay.
So those night elves become the Naga. Those high elves become the Naga, which are the snake
I
things.
was like Naga snake. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
But the main takeaway about that with Illidan and the night elves, especially night elven society now, is that they're very druidic, and they're like, we're not fucking. Nobody ever better mess with arcane magic. So that's why in World of Warcraft Classic and for a long time, you couldn't make like a magic casting character that was you could only make a druid, because in game they're like, we don't want to mess with like arcane magic like that, because we literally like destroyed the world. Later in the game they do put like you can be like a night elf mage and a night elf like warlock now. It just doesn't feel right. I understand why they did it from like a gaming perspective, but it doesn't feel right, because it's like the whole shtick of the night elves is that we're not going to mess with arcane magic again, and we're going to embrace being druidic. You can be a night elf priest, but that is through like a loon and stuff.
I'm looking up the characters so I know what they look like as you're talking, because my
Okay, so you want to look up Illidan Stormrage?
whoa.
Yeah. That
Does he, well, he is daddy, but does he have horns? He does not have horns.
yeah. So we're gonna get in.
Okay.
So Illidan's whole thing, I would.
And I'm so sorry. He's a night elf. Okay, thank you.
We're gonna get to why he has horns.
Okay, that's fine. So yeah, go back to that. Sorry, we went on a side quest for a second here. Go back.
So Illidan is the brother of Malfurion Stormrage, who is the head druid. He's like the arch druid. When they were kids, Illidan and Malfurion basically were being trained in druid. Yep.
I'm more interested in the brother, but go ahead.
Malfurion, were getting trained to be druids by a wild god named Cenarius. Cenarius is like, he's like actually far, but he's like a wild god. So he's like a god that's been on, Azeroth. I'm not going to get into the wild god lore, but basically they're both trained in, in the arts of druids. Cenarius goes, yeah, Illidan, you're not built. So I'm not training you as a druid. And that puts Illidan kind of down this really dark path. Then the third character is Tyrande Whisperwind, who is like it's like a love triangle between the two brothers. And
sorry.
yeah.
I'm sorry, what's her name?
Tyrande Whisperwind. Tyranda is the high priestess of Elune, so she is a priest, and she is sort of the love aspect. Early on, Malfurion is like completely not interested in Tyranda at all.
Sorry, the eyebrows are crazy.
Yeah, eyebrows on fleek, bitch. I don't give a fuck. So, Tyranda is the love interest. She is the bottom or the top of the love triangle, however you want to put it. Malfurion is not really interested in her. He's just like, oh yeah, I'm just doing some druid shit over here. Um, Illidan is smitten by Tyranda, and she doesn't necessarily reject him, but she's just like, listen, bro, it's really not that deep. So there's always sort of this, they are a unit, but they are split because of that. Why Illidan has the horns and everything, Illidan is like, and I can't say that this is what Chris Metzen, the head writer, was trying to do, but it's a very, I don't think it's a Nietzsche quote, but it's like sometimes you look at the void and the void looks back. That's basically Illidan's like whole plot line. So Illidan is, I would say, one of the three main characters of Warcraft 3. I think one of the expansions basically just follows him, and he becomes a demon hunter. And how he becomes a demon hunter is he basically sacrifices himself because he realizes that Tyranda, I think Tyranda and Malfurion are like together now, and he realizes that he'll never have her, even though he loves her. So he goes through this transformation of, I'm going to become the evil that I need to fight, and that's basically how Illidan becomes all those horns. So he goes and makes a deal with the Burning Legion that's like, I'll fight for you, Burning Legion. So they give him all this power, and then he turns around, not necessarily in that game, but later in the lore, he turns around and fights against the Burning Legion with the powers that they gave him. So he's like very much, if you look into the void for too long, the void looks back. And that's sort of what she was saying was like, you know, she went and, you know, literally made a pact with the devil to get better and then turns on him. Warcraft 3 kind of goes into, at least his expansion in Warcraft 3 goes into, like all the shit he's doing for the Burning Legion first, because the Burning Legion is, still, uh, what's it called? The Burning Legion is still kind of controlling him. So he's got to fight for them for a little bit. And then he's got to like free himself from, so he goes to Outland and stuff. And Outland is the first expansion of World of Warcraft. Um, and that's sort of where his story ends for a long time, is he's in Outland basically doing some crazy shit and trying to get back to Azeroth. We'll explain a little bit of what Outland is. Outland is the home of the orcs. The orcs are not native of Azeroth, but this, how would
I wish there was a map. There is a map, but I wish I could.
so Outland is like a alien thing. So the orcs build this thing called the Dark Portal to get into Azeroth, because Azeroth is the main planet. That is the world of World of Warcraft. The orcs are not, they're aliens, essentially. That's how we're gonna say it.
Are aliens?
Orcs are basically aliens, yes.
I disagree. Go ahead.
Hey, I'm just telling you the lore. I'm just telling you the lore. So the orcs make this dark portal because they made a deal with the devil on their planet as well. They made
So
a
I'm
deal.
sorry. Outland is a planet.
Yes. It is a planet, and it's not even a. I know. Like,
Understood.
the Outland is actually like a planet very, very, very far away. So it's not a planet that you could like, you know, SpaceX your way up to. It's a planet like across the twisting nether, and they are literally like coming from all the way
And
around.
Azeroth is a world.
Is the world.
The whole world of World
Warcraft. Yes. Yes. And it's where most of the expansions are going to take place, really without, really, that aren't like,
Shout out user Engine Sakaria on the r/wow for this map. I'm really appreciate you doing this. This is helping my brain. Okay.
so, um, And that's basically Illidan. He is one of the major characters. Second is Arthas.
Okay.
Arthas is the king. Excuse me. Arthas is the son of King Menethil. Uh,
Can't spell any of these names. Good.
Arthas,
I'm getting there. I got it.
Arthas.
No, you're doing great.
So
Sith man. I've seen this man.
yes, he's the human on the character. So if Illidan's whole thing is you stare at the void until the void stares back, Arthas's thing is he was just a guy that was corrupted by trying to do the right thing.
This is the human paladin you said at the beginning.
Yeah. No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, and whatever his name is.
Salpurion. They are really yeah. Please do not rule 34 that, because I'm sure there's a lot. Yeah.
It was probably 3.
Literally, there's probably a good 15 years of rule 34. Um, so Arthas is probably my favorite character in the game.
Not to be confused with Arthur the Faithful, because that's what keeps coming up also.
Arthur the Faithful might also be part of Arthurian lore, like King Arthur. So Arthas, let's start with Arthas. Arthas's dad is the king, basically, of the most populous human kingdom. His father is really, really great in his own right and has a lot of accomplishments. Specifically in fighting the Horde when they first invade, which this is all Warcraft 1 and Warcraft 2. The cool thing about Arthas is that he's one of the first ever human paladins, or paladins really in general. That was something that they introduced in Warcraft 3, and
Spoiler alert.
he dies.
No.
What's the spoiler?
He becomes the Lich King.
Yes. So yes. Sorry.
That me.
Sorry. Also, plot twist. Plot. Whatever. Arthas becomes Lich King. Anyway. So how would I explain? So in Warcraft 3, basically what's going on is there is this giant plague of undeath. That is turning people into zombies.
No shit.
Yep. And that's sort of what plagues on death do. And in that, Arthas' kingdom is sort of attacked and taken over. And the way that they're doing it is there is this powerful wizard, is Alphazad. He corrupted by the Burning Legion. And what he's doing is poisoning grain. And he is
Not
sending
putting in the grave.
right, and he's sending the grain out to all these human towns and settlements. The people are eating, and then they're turning into undead.
Damn, that's crazy.
Which is
zombie grain.
Which is what the undead race essentially.
Didn't know there was an undead race.
Yeah, there's an undead race in World of Warcraft. Yes.
All right.
So the biggest thing to me, and I could spend hours talking about Arthas, would be the event that really defines Arthas and his character, something called the Culling of Stratho. So Arthas is there with his love interest, Dana Proudmoore, and his the guy who's the first paladin, Uther the Lightbringer. They're going and they don't know what's happening. They just they're Warcraft 3, and really the human expansion is basically about them finding out the depths of how fucked the kingdom is becoming because of the undeath. So the biggest thing I would say, the biggest plot point in early Arthas' life, and this is what turns him and corrupts him, is that he is at this town. It's called Stratham. It's like a big human kingdom. It wouldn't be like New York City. It would be like a minor city. It would be like it would almost be Philadelphia. So it's not the biggest city, but it's still a very big city.
Steelers.
No, because we're Eagles fans now. So Arthas is there with Uther, who is the first paladin, which was a big thing, and we'll kind of go over you know what a paladin is from D&D. Okay. So Uther was the first paladin because Archbishop Thole was seeing that they were getting smacked, and that their holy priests couldn't fight. So in the orcs, I believe, we're picking up that the priests couldn't fight. So Archbishop Thal, who's basically the Pope of the Holy Light is like, we need priests that can fight. So you have somebody like Uther who comes in and he like, all right, so I can fight, but I also have a, a two-handed hammer and everything and blah, blah, blah. So Uther is the first paladin. And there's a lot of backstory to that. So he takes Arthas' apprentice. So Arthas is one of the, let's say, first 10 paladins, first 20 they're one of the first graduating classes of paladins. If that makes sense. Yeah. So at the calling of Stratham, they figure out what's going on and they know that the grain is infecting people. So Arthas is, um, I think the grain has already gone into the city, but they haven't figured out that they're going. The grain is in the city. The people have ate.
There's know where the grain's coming from yet.
Yes and no, but the thing that happens at Stratham is that if you die from eating the grain, you're going to come back as undead. So Arthas goes, all right, we're going to go slay them all as humans because it's if they eat the grain and they get turned, then they're going to become undead and they're going to rise against us and they'll lose their soul. Like they can't go to heaven. So Arthas makes the administrative and probably the biggest decision of his young life. He goes, we're going to kill those. We're killing those kids. It was it's literally not just the kids, but everybody in the city.
Everybody, that's cool.
We're killing everybody in the city, and that is the culling of Stratham, and that is the biggest divider of people who agree or disagree with Arthas. I am under the camp that Arthas did nothing wrong.
I mean, he did what he felt like he had to do. I mean, what
Right.
he wanted to save their souls. I mean, who am I to?
Yeah, so like I said, it's
I'm no paladin, so I don't care about the souls.
Arthas
But
is our like I would say Arthas' through line, if I could explain it, is that Arthas is uh the road to hell is paved with good intentions. That's basically his through line there, where it's like, I have to do this because if I don't do this, more people are gonna die. Not only are they gonna die,
okay, maybe focus on where the grain's coming from first. But
oh yeah, they kind of know, but it's too late at that point because the grain is already in the city. And they do find out where the grain is coming from and that Kel'Thuzad is doing it. Really it's all Kel'Thuzad's fault. Basically none of this would have happened if Kel'Thuzad we'll just go on a side note. Kel'Thuzad here. There's something called the Kirin Tor. Are you gonna Google Kel'Thuzad? Okay. Kel'Thuzad turns into a lit. So if you see him and you're like, what the fuck is this? That's the so Kel'Thuzad was a wizard, part of the Kirin Tor. The Kirin Tor is basically the ruling class of wizards in the land. And Kel'Thuzad was
do you ever meet him before he becomes a lich?
you do in a instance that goes back in time. Yeah, I mean, they don't really. Yes, that's him. I don't know if he's that sexy IRL. I recently
To me, I don't.
was that the Hearthstone image. Go and see if you can because I think that's their
He was on Reddit, so I don't know.
yeah. So she pulled up the Hearthstone image where they make him real sexy.
Edit that in.
Yeah, no. I will. So Kalthagod is a great magic wizard, and he's getting into necromancy.
I mean, he's sexier as a lich. So anyway,
Hey, hot take. Um, so he's getting into necromancy. They catch him once, and they go, "Hey, cut that shit the fuck out." And he's and he's like,
doing the Birdman.
yeah, he's like, maybe, well, no, he's like, okay, I will. So, he stops for like a little bit, stops for a little bit, and then they find him again, and, like, um, like practicing necromancy, which is like really looked down upon, obviously. Please don't raise people from the dead, Kel'Thuzad. Um, so after they catch him again,
They're like,
kick him,
please, we're begging you.
yeah, so once they kick him out again, once they find him again, they kick him out of the Kirin Tor, and he basically wanders around the world trying to figure out necromancy. And the Burning Legion contacts him and says, "This is how you can get more power."
Sorry, the Burning Legion, just to confirm for me, is the underworld.
No, so the Burning Legion is a existential threat to the universe.
Who's running it?
So that'd be someone called Sargeras.
Is this like a shadow government? Like what? I'm not sure.
So the Burning Legion is
Because you're telling me they turned the first guy into a demon.
yes. So they're basically a army of army of like demons and minions and stuff
I'm
like.
gonna tell you what the Wowpedia says.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
The Burning Legion is a vast, innumerable army of demons and corrupted races who seek to destroy all life.
Yes, that's a big thing.
Targaryen
Targaryen.
Targaryen created it with the purpose of destroying all world souls in the universe in order to prevent the Void Lords from corrupting them.
Yeah, so that last two sentences, like what's going on in the game. When I say it's an existential threat, it is a threat that like um they have to stave off because if not, it will corrupt everything. It's like demons and succubuses, succubi. There's a giant like green like rock monster thing. So it's
Sorry, it just gets deeper and deeper and deeper. So really quick, just because I want to
yeah, go ahead.
get an idea of how far back this really goes. You're saying, I just want to recap where we are so far because there's a lot. My brain hurts.
Yep.
So this started as Warcraft games, and that's where the lore really begins. Where you're saying the third, really.
Yeah,
You're saying 1 and 2 obsolete, unnecessary.
1 and 2 are more about the orc and struggles specifically. Warcraft 3 opens up the whole world and kind of night elves and that.
Okay.
Yes.
So, what year did World of Warcraft 3 come out?
The game originally came out in 2005. Like, are you asking like the in-game
Nope.
timeline? Okay. So the Warcraft 3 probably came out 02, 03, maybe 01, 02.
I'll confirm. 02.
02, yeah.
So then, between Warcraft 3 and the first World of Warcraft game, or the first, because my ass of the day, what was your favorite? You're like, there's only one World of Warcraft game. You knew what I meant.
Chad.
So when did World of Warcraft come out?
So World of Warcraft in the first opening intro, which we'll talk, it says 30 years has passed since the events of Warcraft 3.
Okay.
So World of Warcraft takes place 30 years after the main big event of World of Warcraft. And then after that, nobody really knows because Blizzard is not great at keeping like an in-game year thing, and you kind of got to figure it out with context clues.
Well, as far and as deep as they've gotten at this point, I don't think anybody there could. There would need to be a World of Warcraft historian on staff at all times.
Yes.
That's keeping.
And then you have things like Shadowlands and stuff where it's like in-game time is so skewed. But anyway, yes. So World of Warcraft starts at 30 years after the events of World of Warcraft.
30 years after. Okay, so not that there's not. I mean, you're saying that there Iliad or whatever his name is.
Kaladin.
Sorry, my bad. Iliad is also something like Greek.
It is a book, a Greek.
Okay, I was like, where am I getting this from? Yeah, I mean, he was in Warcraft 3.
Yeah.
And then we're saying we don't know what he was doing for 30 years. Now he's back.
Yes, but that's like in 2 expansions after. Right. So now you're understanding the time. This is all the World of Warcraft. But what I'm just trying to illustrate is what happened in Warcraft 3 and why it was relevant. So Arthas, after the Culling of Stratholme, basically the thing about the Burning Legion and stuff like that is it's like a slow burn. So at the Culling of Stratholme, Arthas gets basically sort of corrupted, and that's when he starts to become more and more evil. He ends up talking to a Dreadlord who is like let's say a high up commander in the Burning Legion. He starts getting corrupted by that. He tells him he has to get stronger to fight the Burning Legion. So they send him on this quest for this sword. It's called Frostmourne. Frostmourne, the sword that I think you've probably seen Frostmourne. It's like a big silver blade, has like blue runic stuff on it. So Arthas goes to Northrend, which is the second expansion, but this is all before it, to look for Frostmourne because he's being corrupted by the Burning Legion. He gets there with a whole bunch of people. They get there, and Arthas is so blinded by his quest to find the Frostmourne that he ends up burning the boats. So they get to Northrend. He's like, "Oh, thanks, guys." by the way, burns the boat, so they literally can't even go back. And he's like, "We're not leaving Frostmourne." Yes. This is sort of when the right. This is when the dwarf character, Bran Bronzebeard, kind of comes in because he is a dwarven archaeologist, and so when Arthas goes to Northrend, he like people don't know that he's going down this path of evil. So Bran Bronzebeard is basically there and is like, my my God, what the fuck are we doing? Like you're burning the boats. So he finds Frostmourne, gets more corrupted. He actually goes back to his kingdom and kills his father. Like his like it's one of the greatest. I'll show it to you. It's one of the greatest cutscenes. He like comes back and his dad's like, art like they're throwing like a giant rope parade for him. Oh, you came back, and so Arthas is like changed. Like his hair is starting to gray. Like people are like, something's up with that. Like, what do you eat some bad?
Trees left and something happened. He came back. He's not the same.
Yes. So he does that. Once he does that, he comes back, immediately kills his father, because he's like, I have to, basically flex my authority. That why he kills his dad, I'm actually a little unsure about, and
Hang on, we'll find it right now.
anyways,
See, this is all Warcraft 3. This is
yes,
sort of
this is all the arranged Warcraft 3. Yes. So Arthas,
breaking while this is happening. Go ahead.
yeah. So Arthas is one of the two major characters. And Arthas and Illidan end up fighting for other reason that we won't get down to. But yes, so that's Arthas' character. Sort of bridges the gap between human and undead. After he kills his father, he does all this other shit. He ends up putting all the dreadnought armor, or the dread armor, and
The game theory is that he killed his father because once he got the Frostmourne,
Yep.
he lost his soul to it. So there wasn't really any Arthas left. And he wasn't himself anyway.
Yeah, so he goes back and kills his dad, which based. And not based, not based, not based. Um, goes back, kills his dad. And that's sort of where we're gonna leave that because the end card of Warcraft 3 is the coolest. Arthas and Illidan are fighting because even though they're both fighting for um the Burning Legion, they're like within the Burning Legion, they have different objectives, and they both realize that they are each other's biggest threat, if that makes sense. So they're like, we can only be one. Illidan, I believe, wins, and then Arthas goes back to Northrend and is doing shit there, and we'll interact with him in the second and Wrath of the King. Illidan is Illidan is in. He is the main boss of the first expansion. And so you kind of see what happens to Illidan first, and then you see what Arthas. So that is those two. There's still a whole bunch of campaigns. Um, you have basically the orcs. So the orcs were in these internment camps because there too many of them fled through the dark portal. They couldn't defeat them all, and by them I mean like the human kingdoms. So what they did is they basically put them in internment camps. Yes, back to the internment camps, and in these internment camps,
Justice for orcs.
in these internment camps, um, they become very lethargic and very like basically what they're trying to make them is like good little slaves, so they'll never uprise again.
They're strong. Human orcs are strong like humans. Like that. They gotta make them weak.
The other thing about orcs too is that they are shamans. They are shamanistic, and they yes. So to go back to the Outlands and stuff, basically what happens is
Never mind.
go ahead. No, go. So in the Outlands, before they're corrupted by the Burning Legion, orcs are doing shaman shit, and they're living with nature and everything like that. Then a orc named Gul'dan contacted by the Dark Legion, the Burning Legion, and they go, hey, we're gonna need you to corrupt these orcs because they're part of a larger plan to kill the Draenei, which we won't get into the Draenei. They set the blue sexy goats. Go ahead. Sorry, because I know you pulled up.
I didn't. So I'm trying to. There's just. I mean, when I say this shit is deep, I really wasn't. I mean, I was aware, but I wasn't aware.
Yes.
I mean, like D&D can go pretty deep. It's been going on longer than World of Warcraft.
Right.
But there were original races which we're going through.
Yes, these are all the original.
Thank you so much because I looked on the website and there was so many more in my brain as like about
So
to load.
So this is basically a Warcraft 3. There's not a lot of unplayable races.
There should be. Like, calm down. Anyway,
No, what I'm saying, every expansion in Warcraft 3 for the most part becomes a playable race in Warcraft. So you have a night elf expansion, you can make night elf. You have a human expansion, you can make humans. I don't think there's like a dwarf venom.
Taurans were one of the originals.
Yeah, Taurans were one of the original. We'll kind of get into that when we're talking about Thrall.
Sorry.
So Thrall, orcs are shamans, orcs are shamans, and Gul'dan is corrupted by the Burning Legion because the Burning Legion and some big players in the Burning want to kill the Draenei for another reason, which we'll go into. So Gul'dan corrupts the orcs by making them drink basically this. Do you remember Ecto Aid? Do you remember the Gatorade
High C.
High C that
C X Ghostbusters collab?
So basically, they drink the Ecto Aid, and that makes them from being like sensible creatures to war hungry monster
So, like,
creatures. Yeah, orcs, right. The orcs had red skins, and when they drink that shit, it makes them turn into green. Yes, and they get filled with bloodlust and all other shit. So the reason they have to open the dark portal is because, which is what connects the Outland where the orcs are at and where the humans are at, is because through this bloodlust, they've completely decimated their whole planet, and they need to come to Azeroth so that they can survive, because they can't survive anymore because they're fighting and they've like burned everything down. In the background of that, they were very shamanistic, but when they drink that, the spirits completely shut that shit the fuck down. They're like, you can't have any of this. So not only are they bloodlust, but now they have no connection at all. So that's really big in the orcs, and specifically Thrall. So Thrall is the son of an orcish war chief. It's the Frostwolf clan, so they were the orcs that lived in the mountains. And they live like in like the snowy mountain. That's why they're called the Frostwolf. And they rode on wolves, which is, you understand where the Frostwolf comes. Oh, yep. So he is the son of a very prolific war chief, which is basically like the chief of the tribe.
I can't wait for all of the WoW different things I'm gonna get from Google.
Oh yeah, they're gonna be like, you want to play?
And
Play now. Anyway, so this is like the orcs and the humans. That's what Warcraft 1 and Warcraft 2 is about. Thrall in Warcraft 3, he starts in an internment camp, and his whole storyline is we're trying to make a place of our own because they're not specifically Earth. They're not from Azeroth terrestrial. You understand what I'm saying? So Thrall's storyline and the orc storyline is one, him getting out of the internment camps by the help of another human who is actually the daughter of the leader of the internment camp. So maybe pulled out the orc dick. I'm not sure. Anyway, he gets out of the internment camp. There are many, many, many internment camps. So his goal is to free all the orcs from the internment camps and then sail from one continent to the other. So they're on the Eastern Kingdoms, which is like the human side. And once he frees all these people, he wants to go to Kalimdor, which is basically unsettled. When he gets to Kalimdor, well, before he gets to Kalimdor, he meets the trolls, which the trolls is another original race. Now, the thing you got to explain about the trolls is the trolls are, like I said, one of the oldest, and the trolls that Thrall meets. Go ahead.
where are we? What location are we currently?
Kalimdor.
Is that not? Is that in Azeroth?
So there's two continents.
I'm gonna jump.
Yes. So there's two continents. You have the Eastern Kingdom.
Calendar. You said I heard. Here.
Yep.
I'm on it.
So they're all in these internment camps in the Eastern Kingdoms. They go over to Kalimdor, and that's basically where they start their new life. On the way to Kalimdor, they meet the Dark Spear trolls. What's important about the troll and troll culture is that it's very divided. So even though there's the Dark Spear trolls and the Gurabashi trolls, they're not all connected within like a troll hierarchy. If that makes sense. They're kind of all their own each little thing. So Thrall um helps the trolls, the Darkspear trolls, Senjin and his son Vol'jin. And they're like, oh, we fuck with you. So that's how they join what is called the New Horde, which is one of the factions. So once they get to Kalimdor, and I might be that's when they meet the Tauren, and the Tauren are native of Kalimdor. The Tauren don't really view them as attacker. They kind of understand like what's going on. The Tauren are very shamanistic. They're very druidic. They're very whatever. And
Okay.
orcs and the orcs and the Tauren kind of connect
Sure.
because the Tauren are shamans and the orcs are like, oh shit, we know that. Like you that here, you know what I mean? So they kind of link up. At that time, the Tauren are fighting the Minotaurs or the Centaurs, which are the Pathies, the
Centaurs.
Centaurs. Yep.
Centaur.
So the Tauren aren't very established. They're fighting for their own territory, and so the orcs and the trolls come in, and they all basically form up.
Got you.
Right, and then that's basically how that version
Fuck
goes.
these half horse motherfuckers.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So that's basically how that is how the orc that's how that part of the goes. Now the fourth part of the horde, the undead, and basically what happens with the undead is they get freed from their mindless like undead of being zombies, and this is the whole story for another day. But they basically come back, and even though that they're undead, they still are not controlled by the Lich King,
Okay.
and they are controlled by themselves. So their big undead's big thing that they are able to make their own decisions, and they're not mindless slaves of the Lich King.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like a story of hope where they're like, well, we're our own thing. Like we got to go build our own culture. And a lot of those people, and you'll get into Sylvanas, and I want to go down the Sylvanas rabbit hole, but you got to think a lot of those people died from plague that I was talking about earlier, and then they revived in the area that they died.
Okay.
So now they're undead. They're not human, but they're still in like their hometown. That makes
I
sense.
got it.
So a lot of the early undead leaders and stuff are like, this is our land. No, it is corrupted or whatever. Like, this is my fucking hometown, whether or not I'm a human or not dead. So
So the horde
yep.
is made up originally. Now it's different, but we're talking OG.
Yep. OG horde.
Orcs, trolls, Tauren, and the Forsaken or the undead.
Well, the undead, and they all had campaigns in Warcraft 3.
Okay.
The Alliance
Yep.
is humans,
Yep.
dwarves,
Yep.
gnomes, and night elves. Got it. So basically, what Warcraft 3 tie all that together is makes you fall in the love of the lore of one of those things, and then you go and wonder yourself as you're playing it. It's like, how the fuck would like a normal night elf like live?
Yeah.
And that was the appeal of World of Warcraft, was like, oh, you played the campaign, now play like a normal adventurer or like a normal person within that campaign. And that's what World of Warcraft was. But for World of Warcraft to run, they had to do a very good job with Warcraft 3, which is what I'm saying that they did.
Yeah.
They got people to buy the game, get into the universe. Another thing I want to touch on is like, there were people that understand what the fuck expansions were for games, because you didn't have that on Xbox or PS2 or whatever. You bought the game. Right. So why I go back to why the battle chest, which was the thing, was so important, was because it was literally everything you needed to play the game if you never played an RTS or anything at all. So that was Blizzard's first hurdle as like an onboarding process, was to get people to come and play that game. and I don't know when I can go back and look when they figured they were gonna do World of Warcraft, but, what they were trying to do was to take all the lore they had already established in that game, basically written by one person, Chris Metzen. Shout out to Chris Metzen, one of the greatest fantasy writers of our time. Um, and that was all his lore, and going to transpire that on into World of Warcraft. So I want to say by the end of the development of Warcraft 3, they kind of knew they were going to make an MMO, because a lot of people say World of Warcraft was the first MMO. It was not. You had things like EverQuest and EverQuest 2. Um, like I said, Star Wars Galaxies and stuff. But what World of Warcraft did, um, again, talking about the onboarding process with World of Warcraft, is they made it so it was an easier game to play and understand. Games before that, there was no you would just go out and grind mobs. You didn't really have like an understanding of it. A lot of MMOs were full drop. So if you died in the game, like you would drop all of your fucking gear, until you ran back and got it. A lot of those MMOs back then were like open world PvP all the time. So you could be like level 20, like golly gee willikers, and then somebody would come across and you would basically at the whole.
Yeah.
So what World of Warcraft did was basically really and this is where you'll get the discussion. They made the game easier for everybody to understand what an MMO, because there wasn't like EverQuest and stuff. And there was another one I'm forgetting. Richard Garriott is involved. Um, I'm forgetting it, but all these other games are way too hard for normies to understand, and World of Warcraft kind of understood that, and they were like, "How are we going to get people to play our MMO if they don't understand?" Because it was a lot of people's first MMO. That was another too, was you had to like sell people on the idea of what an MMO was, even if they knew what Warcraft 3 was, because they were like, "Well, what?"
It's a different game. I mean, same world, obviously, World of
Right.
Warcraft, and same characters, but it's a different concept. So
Yeah.
somebody picking up World of Warcraft for the first time who's only played the Warcraft games, they have to understand what they're getting into because it's different. But also, I think I agree. I think I don't play MMOs because I don't like that concept, whatever it is. Like I play RPGs, but I don't like there's something about MMOs that they're not for me. So I think you're right. They had to find a way to bring people who've played MMOs, people who played Warcraft, and who haven't done either of them, and how do they make it more accessible and like everybody can play this.
Yes. And that was really I mean, you summed it up better than I could, but that was really the beauty of World of Warcraft first came out, is that it built on this everlasting ethos, or not this ever, but this pre-existing war. Um, but it also brought into people who were from other MMO stuff and stuff like that. So it was really like a convergence point where it's like, all right, if you play MMOs, you can fuck with this. If you played Warcraft 3, you can fuck with this. And that's basically how the world have started. Which I think is a really good outro. Go over my notes. The other thing that I would wanna The only other thing I would say is, specifically back then, is that not a lot of people playing PC games. You got to think 2004, 2005 when it first came out. This is the age of how people are falling in love with Call of Duty. I mean, like,
Yeah.
Titan,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Call of Duty, Halo, even like Fable, stuff like that. So I remember when I was first playing computer games, and like all my friends, like people thought we were crazy. Even though, in retrospect, like games came from computers first, but we didn't know that. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Because the first consoles that a lot of are we millennials? Yeah, that us millennials got was the N64,
Yeah.
Rainbow Road.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
we had older siblings. We would have had like the Super Nintendo
Right.
and stuff like that. But
So one thing I will say back then, which I thought was always kind of cool, it was like this very punk rock thing. It was like, I remember sitting at a lunch table with me and my friends that I'm not gonna dox. But oh, me and like we would sit there and we all would play World of Warcraft, and like all the COD guys and everything would be like, "You guys, you're not real gamers. You're not real," because they didn't understand. Now to us, like they weren't.
Correct. That's
You
how
know what
I
I mean? Yeah. So
and I mean, as a girl growing up, I mean, I played The Sims on my computer. They made The Sims for GameCube and for PlayStation, but, for any other simmers out there, it was never the same. Um, Playing The Sims on a console is don't even do it.
oh, you're not even bringing up the greatest Sims game, Sims Herbs.
No. And there was other, like, they made Sims Animals for GameCube, I think. Shit, crap. Never do that again. How dare you? But, like, I was playing The Sims on my computer, and I had friends who were like, "You play." Well, first of all, as a girl back in that time, playing video games was like,
Right, which was why.
ew, gross.
You're right.
Um,
You gotta, and I want to take this back because I think a lot of people don't understand. For the longest time, the games and stuff were on the boy section of Toys R Us, and they
Yeah.
weren't like it was literally like Nerf guns, video. You know what I mean? So for even a girl to get in, like gaming back in the day was very much like boy code.
boy oriented, like, you weren't
Yeah.
but like I said, I've always played video games, and I had a lot of, female friends growing up that were like, "I don't understand the appeal. This is what boys do." Um, Fuck gender roles. But I I will say that I grew up with my nephews who always played video games, so I was blessed to be raised around boys. Um, but playing PC games well before this explosion that happened, in my opinion, I think it was TikTok kind of pushed it. It was before that for sure, but TikTok, I think, pushed for PC gamers. Being stuck in our houses during COVID made PC gaming really blow up, in my opinion. But playing PC games before 2000,
Yeah, like
before the new millennium, like you all were crazy.
yeah. So it felt very much punk rock back then. I think that's what a lot of newer people don't get. And I think that's why like older PC gamers, myself included, like kind of get upset is that like this was like some underground, like kind of like Dungeons and Dragons,
Yeah,
where it's like Dungeons and Dragons has always been around, but like
it
when
just
Matt
exploded.
right, but
Yeah,
like when Matt Mercer and shit came around,
critical role.
Critical Role and shit,
Yeah.
like it got even bigger and bigger and bigger, and that's what eventually happened with World of Warcraft. But I do feel bad for people who were longtime Dungeons and Dragons gamers before that, because it was like they like had this thing that was very punk rock and very sort of their own.
It can still be punk rock in some ways, but
Right,
yeah.
right. So that was the last thing I wanted to touch on, and then we'll do the outro. Um, so I mean that was basically that. But all I wanted to say was Warcraft 3 was the seed in the ground for the Warcraft franchise to grow. It was definitely the very beginning, but at the same time, it gave you a play World of Warcraft, and that's why I thought it was very important to kind of start at the beginning and understand like where all these concepts kind of showed up before World of Warcraft. So Warcraft 3 was my first impression of the game. Not that I knew too much the fuck was going on with what was happening in Warcraft 3, but it was the onboarding process. And I think a lot of people forget about it. A lot of WoW players forget about it. It did get re-released and it was fucking terrible. I know it's better now, but it's a shame what Blizzard did to the re-release of the game. But I think we really need to start there and start at the beginning because um, that's where all this shit comes from. So I think we're about done. Do you have anything you want to say or you want to add?
I just wanted to say that this was, very educational for me. I truly am not kidding, before you started talking at the very beginning, I didn't know Warcraft and World of Warcraft were different things. I know that they made a movie, Warcraft.
But yeah, we don't talk.
I know, I'm sorry.
Like
However,
the gas leak.
but
Do not talk about.
but I assume that was based on those games, the first one.
Yes, it is.
I had no idea. I thought World of Warcraft was its own. I never knew there was a prelude. I never knew that there was anything that explained the lore beforehand. So I've learned something very new today. I truly had no idea.
Gotcha. All right, guys. That's gonna wrap it up for us. I just want to personally thank everybody that's watching the shorts. the shorts is kind of my bread and butter, and it's what started going down this adventure of me talk about World of Warcraft content. Do want to shout out everybody who's very receptive to the shorts. I really do appreciate it. I get a lot of comments on there. I get a lot of arguing about lore and pronunciation of things, and I think that's awesome. But it also, like, the comments that really get to me are the ones that are like, "Hey, I remember playing this with my brother or my cousin or whatever." And I never want to take away that from people, because those memories you made in game, even though they're not the real world, you still made them in the game, and you still have these connections with these people. Um, so I just wanted to thank everybody for watching the shorts and everything. There's more coming out. I do have more long form content coming out. Like I said, Troll Night Elf debacle and the whole conspiracy theory with that. So I just wanted to shout out everybody that's watching the channel. We will have more of these, try to record these once a week, get them out and everything. So I just want to thank everybody for stopping by. We really appreciate this. I appreciate being able to talk to death about my girlfriend, excuse me, my wife. Uh, um I'm actually gonna have another podcast with my girlfriend, where we talk about EverQuest. That's a joke. But I just want to thank everybody for interacting with the comment. It really means a lot to me. I'm not some super mega genius. I'm just a guy who plays WoW like the rest of you. So it's really great that you guys are interacting with them and commenting on them and arguing with me about pronunciation and enunciation of things. I really appreciate. But besides that, that's all we got for today. We'll see you later. Do you have any last thoughts?
Not a thing.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time. Have a nice one. Keep questing. Happy questing. I don't have a like a end line yet, so we'll think about that. But that's it. And again, thank you for sitting down, taking time, and watching the content. I know there's a lot of tons of content you could watch, but you're watching ours, and that really means a lot to us. So anyway, peace.